Good evening, everybody out there in Geogebra land. Welcome to another Geogebra Live session, the last one for 2020. What a year it has been, ladies and gentlemen, and I am so excited to introduce the one and only Burgess Jeffries, who's with us in the house. Welcome, Burgess.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hi. Well, thank you for joining us, Burgess. And, I just have to say that if any of you are on Twitter, and you've been paying attention to what Geogebra has been retweeting, it's this guy over here. Just seeing Geogebra 3D Calculator and Augmented Reality. And Burgess, where do you teach?
I teach in the city of Birmingham, Alabama.
Awesome. Yeah. So this is the true validity right here, ladies and gentlemen. He's teaching full time, and tonight I think what are we actually talking about here? Let me just bring this in the session here. Bringing math textbooks to life with AR. What inspired the title?
So for me, and some people don't know this about me, I actually, even though I teach math now, it's my favorite subject, I actually had to repeat a couple of times. Like I actually flunked a couple of times. And I think one of the things were like when we get to certain applications and problems that we had to work out, it was such a struggle for me to kind of visualize what was going on. I wasn't good at drawing at the time. The internet wasn't around. So the technology just wasn't there, so I had to figure it out in my head and on paper. Like that's all I had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when did you start messing around with Geogebra 3D and AR? Because it was like a month or 2 months ago. Like, what was the story behind that?
So Geogebra, I go back further with just the classic, and then later on, I found out about the 3D. So I want to say 2 years ago, I found out that it was 3D AR stuff. So I started playing around with it then, but I wasn't able to do like some of the things that I was seeing on the internet. Like I saw some really cool construction. So luckily, and Phelps, Steve.
Oh, he's amazing. Steve Phelps is a master.
He showed me a couple of things, and then after he showed me like 2 or 3 things, I was like, okay, let me just take this and see what I can do. And then that's when I started just building it up.
Cool. So we want to see this in action. So tonight, from what I understand, we're going to take. Well, I'm just going to give you the full reins here. So, sir, it is all you. You screen share, and I'm going to take myself out. And literally, can we add your screen share to the stream now? And you just want to take over?
Yes, you can add it now.
Go for it. All right, man. It's all you.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about is, Geogebra 3D and augmented reality bringing math textbooks to life. So everything I'm going to show you right now are pictures that I've taken. So this was a trip I took about 3 years ago to Luxor, Egypt. So why augmented reality? Because basically augmented reality just provides a more immersive experience to interact with data. That's pretty much the main thing for me. It's an experience. All right. So here's a couple of more shots. As you can see, I have some hot air balloons going on, and right before we landed, there was a group of kids, and this guy, you see him in the bottom corner, he was running up to kind of see where the balloon landed. So we saw like a lot of children run up to the balloons after we got out. So that was pretty cool. All right.
Awesome.
So how can we use augmented reality to make textbooks come to life? So as you can see, I'm just showing a lot of pictures of like hot air balloons, this, that, and other, right? And so the real reason behind the hot air balloon is because it occurred to me just flipping through a textbook, and I saw an example. And here's a live example out of a pre-calculus book. Now, we're not going to do any pre-cal tonight, but what we will do is learn how to design something inside of Geogebra to help it come to life. All right, so I'm going to give everyone a moment to kind of read what it says. All right, or should I read? I guess I can read it.
Go for it.
This one talks about altitude. It says observers 2.32 miles apart see a hot air balloon directly between them, but at the angles of elevations shown in the figure. It says, find the altitude of the balloon. So there's ways and there's calculations that we can take just with this information to let us know exactly how high that balloon is, right? So that's the example. It's the hot air balloon. Two observers are looking at it from different angles. All right. So, and I like to end with a quote, and this quote comes from Mr. Steve Jobs himself. So it says, design is not just what it looks and feels like. Design is how it works. All right. So that's the key. How does it work? All right. So
great.
So we're going to get into Geogebra. And for anyone that's out here right now, we can go to our website, geogebra.org. And what we're looking for is 3D calculator right here. It says 3D calculator.
So if I may ask, I know a lot of people have asked before, but so we don't, what you're saying is that we do not have to create on our phones or tablets. We can actually create on Chromebooks and computers. And then you're saying save it to Geogebra, our account, and then open it up on our phone later on.
Exactly. We can do, and that's exactly how I do mine. I like to do everything on my computer first. I save it, and then when it's finished, then I bring it over to my device, whether it's a phone or a tablet or whatever. And I just move it to that, and then I'll run it from there.
Awesome.
All right. So we're in 3D calculator. Oh, what just happened? Oh, there we go. All right. So as you can see, I have a 3D calculator going. This here is really cool. It lets you see from different angles. All right. So you have your X, Y, and your Z axis. All right. X, Y, and Z. And so what I want to start off doing is just getting my point A and my point B. Right. Honestly, you could put your points anywhere you want to put them. But I like to always kind of start, if I can, I like to start at the origin, right at the middle where all the lines intersect. Now, remember, all the way up until a certain point, we're always using two dimensions, right? X and Y. And we all know that the X and Y has an intersection at 0, 0. There's your origin, right? But now that we're in 3D, that doesn't change. It's just not that much of a stretch to just add another 0. So X and Y is 0, so is Z. All right, so I have an X, Y, and Z. So as you can see, I typed in capital letters, you type in your capital A is equal to 0, 0, 0.
Cool. All right. Burgess, would you be willing to actually make the font size a little bit bigger, please?
Font size a little bit bigger?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Makes it easier to see from far away.
Bigger. I go up here to the gear.
Yep.
I click on my settings. Come down right here to settings again. Let's see, hit that gear. And look what we have here, font size. There we go. What I need, 24?
Yeah, sure, why not? 24, 28.
Okay, 24. We're gonna put it on 24. All right. And so there we go. And so as you can see right here, I have my first point. I have A is equal to 0, 0, 0. That's my point A. And I'm going to try to I want my numbers to stay nice and round. So I know the example said it was like 2.3 miles. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose the point because we're in control of everything. So like, I'm going to say my point B, I like to count by fives. I don't know why. 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever. So I'm going to find another point, 5, 0. And notice it's right there on the x-axis. I want to stay on the x-axis, so I'm going to keep my 0 on the z-axis also. So now I have, so there's my 2 points right there. And you can look at it. So now I have A and B. Now, here's where it gets kind of cool, right? So remember, we're talking about a hot air balloon, right? And as you saw from the presentation earlier, your hot air balloons start on the ground. Like they don't automatically just end up in the air, right? So what I want to do is create a third point. I'm gonna call that one C. And I don't know, I'm gonna pick some number in between A and B, all right? And I'm gonna go with the number 3. So 3, 0, comma, 0. Oh, no, let me delete that. I'm gonna do a slider first. But no, I'm gonna do 0, comma, 0. We're gonna talk about that. Here we go. Okay. So what we have here is 3 points all along the line. For my geometry teachers, you might hear them say collinear, things like that, right? So I have my 3 points here. The question is, can I get this one, right, to go up and down, like go up and down in the sky?
Right.
What I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a variable called H, and H is gonna stand for height, right? I'm gonna say H is equal to 0. And look what it creates here. When you type in H is equal to 0, it creates this slider. And what I want to do with this slider is I'm gonna start the slider at the lowest number, which is 0. I'm gonna climb it up, all right? So let's see. Let's go to my settings and let's see what slider says in your settings. See how I click settings? You go to slider, and that's what you want to change. I'm okay with it going up as high as 5. That's okay. I just want my lowest number to be a 0. All right, so, and as you can see here, see how my slider is now, it goes from 0 to 5.
Nice.
Yeah, so let's look on the graph and watch what happens as I just slide. See, when I use the slider, nothing happens. See, C is still on the ground. It's not moving anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. Another thing you learn in algebra is you learn a vocabulary word called variable, right? The variable represents a number or a value, but also by definition, vary means change, right? Like things are varying. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna change this last 0, which is the Z value, and I'm gonna change it to a H. And now what happens here, I have a variable on the Z axis, which allows me to change it, right? And watch what happens when I change it. See that? See how it kind of comes off of the plane?
Nice.
Yeah, so there it is there.
So that's where the hot air balloon is going to be going?
Yeah, that's what the hot air balloon is going to be on. I'm going to do a little something here because I can actually throw in an emoji, right? So I'm going to click on the point. Let's see, I'm going to click on the point, and I am going to go to my settings, and I'm going to change my caption to a balloon.
Can you zoom in on that so people can see there? I think it's really important there. See, this is the one question, Burgess, I remember this is the one question I had asked you. I'm like, how did you get all the plane and symbols there? Because Geogebra 3D never really works well with like images and stuff, as well as the 2D. But I'm like, how did you get that? But right where caption, you just copy the emoji and that was it.
That was it.
That's so cool.
Okay, now why is I'm double tapping the screen.
Double tap where the gear is. That might work.
Ah, there we go.
There you go. And
so as you can see here, I have a balloon here. I'm actually going to do something else, like that point right there in the middle. This is just me getting very meticulous right now. That point is extremely too big, right? For me, it is. So let's go back to the settings, the 3 dots. I'm going to go to the settings. And I need to change the style. So I don't want that point to be extremely large. I want that point to be a little bit smaller. And that lets me, and if you look here, you can barely see it now. So now we're looking at a balloon, and I'm gonna pick there we go. We got a red balloon right there between A and B.
Nice.
I'm gonna go over here to my slider, and I'm gonna hit play. And you can see it go up and down. And look, you can look at it from all sorts of angles here. All right.
Nice. Well done.
All right. So this is just something real quick that you can learn how to do. A question like that can actually be modified for all sorts of ages, right? I teach 11th and 12th graders, so like I can come at it from a pre-calculus standpoint. But if all you're teaching is shapes, we're making a triangle, right? So you can talk to 4-year-olds about triangles, right? Or you can talk to elementary age about triangles. So it all depends on how much information you're trying to relate with your diagrams, and you can kind of modify it for whatever age you want, right? So this one right here is a good starter one just to learn how to control some points. So, but this isn't really what I want to get into. What I really want to get into is augmented reality. That's what I really want to do. So I'm going to, up here, see right here, I'm gonna click this button and it allows me to save it. And I'm gonna call this hot air balloon live. All right, so I'm gonna save that. And
no, actually, hang on a second. Hit cancel for a second. Try it again, because it actually gave you a version 5 file, something with the I would save it again.
Okay, I hit it.
That's the thing. Yeah, hit file save just one more time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I saved the file.
But was it a version 5 software, or did it actually save it online? Because I thought it wanted to export a .ggb.
Yeah, it's saved. This is normally what it pops up.
But that's the link to the Geogebra 3D calculator, though. Could we just try? Because that's not a unique URL. Could you just go one more time though to the corner, the left corner on the very far left, the menu on the left side, I think it was. Or save it the way you normally do. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's the way I normally save it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's the way I normally save it. And what I do, how I check it is I come back to the website, and when I look under my profile right here, I just tap that and see how it says hot air balloon live.
Got it.
All right. And as you can see, is it coming up?
Let's go back there for a second. Yeah, your profile again, maybe. Because it actually saved it as for every other thing that you made, it saved it as a it actually saved it as a .ggb. There was a little mistake. Can you hit open an app one more time? Let's just see what happens.
Okay, let's see.
Troubleshoot a little bit.
And it's fine. Like I can throw those points back down and
right.
It's real quick. If it's doing that.
Yeah. Sometimes I found in my experience that like in all three Geogebra, like every once in a while, it's always Murphy's Law. Whenever everybody's watching, it's like, what happens? So it happens there. It happens. It's okay. But
you know what? I'm not gonna even worry about that. We're gonna
because if I remember correctly, you actually made this very one like a few days ago or last week, right? You have you have an identical construction somewhere else in your profile that you could just go to. Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do is bring up my air server. All right. So here we go. Let's connect. Yes. Okay. All right. As you can see, I'm connected now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my construction in Geogebra. So I said I can do mine from the website.
So just go to Safari or Chrome on your phone?
Safari or Chrome on your phone. Go to geogebra.org.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and sign in.
Here, I'll remove it. I'll remove the thing so people don't see the password. I removed it. Go ahead.
They won't see it.
I did that once on my iPhone actually, and you saw the characters and they changed the circles right away. So yeah, go ahead and do it. Let me know when to put it back in.
Okay, I'm there. I'm here now.
All right. So you're logged in your profile on Geogebra.
Yeah, so I'm in my profile, and I have a balloon example right here that I did with a class. So let me see. As you see, I have all sorts of examples just floating around. Where is that one?
And it's like people are creating Geogebra. It's like, yeah, I'm going to file it later, and then later never comes.
This is the one here. Okay, so I'm going to choose Open in App.
Yep.
And 3D Calculator. And let me change that to standard view just starting out. So
wow.
I'm in standard view right now. And right here where it says AR, right here, I'm going to tap that and it will activate the camera. And so what I can do is, and you got to do this where there's a lot of light. You don't want to do this in a dark room. Make sure your phone is parallel to the ground and you're directly above it. And when you see that little square pop up on your screen, just tap it.
Mm-hmm.
And look what it creates here. See what it creates? There's the balloon. There's my point A. And see, I'm adding in some degrees because we're talking about angles and stuff, right? Over here, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can do is, yeah. You can actually watch it as it happens right there.
It's like you can literally walk into it.
Yeah, you can walk into it, around it. You can go through it if you want to. You know,
yep.
Come out on the side, come around.
Nice.
Very, yeah. It's so it actually brings it. It kind of drives it home a little bit more than just seeing a still image on a sheet of paper. You know, I mean, those images do help, but you know, most people like to watch the movie. Who really reads the book, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I think about it. Books are great, though.
Well, it's almost like if you have now, it's almost like you modeling it. It's kind of like you're rewriting the movie, like in a different way, almost. You know,
movie now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if I can ask, I'm sure as teachers want to do you ever have your students create in GeoGebra 3D and then open it on their phones?
More constructions now. Yeah, so we've been doing, I started them off using 2 dimensions for like a week or so. And then like towards the end of last week and this week, we've been doing some 3Ds.
Yep.
Yeah, so the first one that we did as a class was actually the balloon example that you see right here.
That's awesome. That is really cool.
All right, so that's
Tanya, it is interactive. Totally agree with you there. Totally. Yeah. So, like, what would you say, like, you know, other implications are? I mean, like, what is you know, can I ask you, because if you have more stuff, I'm just curious, like, what's your favorite GeoGebra 3D AR construction that you've made so far?
My favorite one?
Yeah. I've seen a bunch on Twitter. I can't remember them all, but like they're so good, each and every one of them. But like, what would you say is your like top favorite? If you could pick just one.
If I could pick one. And for those that are listening, you know, I it's very humbling to hear him say that because he made some of the craziest designs. So like for him to think some of mine are okay is just still mind blowing to me.
No,
But
yours are amazing.
let's see. My favorite one is actually it was the one where the airplane was taken off of a runway.
Yes.
I had an airplane taken off of a runway. As a matter of fact, like
Can we look at it here? Would it be cool? Can we see actually the plane flying in AR?
Oh, yeah, let's see. How do I get back to that one? That one was yeah, it took me a while to get all of those details correct. Like it took me a while. So let's see.
Then you have them saved on your iPhone there too. That's cool.
Yeah, I saved them there. Okay, there it is. It says Takeoff 3D. As you see, I have like 3 different versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me open this one up. And to 3D calculator. And it doesn't look like anything now, but we're about to see it in one moment. Let me go back to standard view. And I don't know if yeah, this is standard view right now.
Right. Just out of curiosity, as you're repositioning this, can I ask, have you ever found students, if they have like choice, have you ever found students like building from scratch on their phones and not like a Chromebook or a computer, say? Do you ever find people doing that?
I have a student that's in my calculus class.
Mm-hmm.
She was having issues with her computer. So she was like, you know what? We had an app, so I'm gonna just start using it on the app. So she was able to do her assignments right there from her phone.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This is always the hardest part because there it is. There it is. As you can see, I'm trying to stretch these numbers out.
Yeah.
It can
be tricky on a small screen, but yeah, you got it.
That's why I like to always make sure I do it first on the okay, there we go. So let's see.
Not to put you on the spot, but sorry. Just had to ask.
So here we go. Okay. As you can see, I have mine. You see how I have it right now?
Yep.
So let me turn off this plane. I don't want the plane. I do not want the plane. All right, so this is the airplane example that I did. And let me make sure I have everything. Maybe turn that down a little bit. Let me turn that down a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna have this one take off at like 12 degrees, all right? So the reason why I like this one so much is...
And that's your runway, right?
That's my runway.
Right in your room. You got the plane runway right there. Look at that. That's so awesome.
I have a runway with a plane at the end of it, right?
Yep.
I'm walking along the runway. There's my boat. But wait, we're gonna look until we find it. There's I had something under this water and I cannot find it right now. I think I had a dolphin in it earlier and I cannot find it. It's down here swimming somewhere. There it is.
Okay. There you go.
See that?
Oh, what is that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a little dolphin right there. Let me see if I can get it swimming.
All right.
I think it was this one here. There it is. And it jumps out of the water and it comes back in. Yeah, so.
Nice.
All right, so here we go. Are we ready? Let's see.
I'm looking at the function above. You modeled that with a sine curve or something?
The which one?
The jumping out of the water?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
I used a sine curve for that one. So we got the dolphin going. Let's see. And we're ready for takeoff.
Let's do it. Fasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me remember what's what. I forgot what all these. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna let the boat go first. All right.
All right.
The boat is moving, and now I'm gonna let the plane come next. You see that?
Yep.
And then you see that it went off.
Man, it's up at the ceiling now.
Yeah, and so like, and that's part of it. It's like, you see how big it is now? Like, your idea can get extremely big, right?
Yep.
And then because it's in augmented reality, like, it's so far up there, I can't even touch it with my hand. Like, I can't even really put my finger near it. And so, like, it really gets you thinking and like modeling like what's going on in real life when you read these scenarios in these textbooks.
Yeah.
Because this question asks, the only question that this one wanted to know is, once the plane is directly above this boat, how high is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we have a hard time visualizing that, this really helps out because I also did another thing to help kind of drive this point home.
Mm-hmm.
Is, you see what I'm doing here?
Yep, you got the opaque. So you're filling in with color as that slider goes 0 to 1.
Yeah, and when you see a plane take off, most people don't see triangles.
Mm-hmm.
Like when a plane takes off, I see shapes. Like,
yep,
I see shapes in a lot of things. Like I might see a quarterback throw to a receiver, and I'm like, okay, that receiver went from point A to point B, and the football headed towards him. That's a triangle if you look at it from the sky. You get what I'm saying? So it's that type of thing here, and this right here really lets you see it, and it's adjustable. You can do it right here on the fly. So what I showed was this is what it looks like when it takes off at 12 degrees. But I can actually bring that down right now, and then I can have a better look at it. And now you see how close it is?
Mm-hmm.
So just based off of the angle of takeoff, it's going to affect how high up it is by the time it gets so far out.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, even looking at the other way too, because I always remember like when I'm on a plane and all of a sudden we start descending, it's always the descending that's harder than the going up. Mm-hmm. And it's like that angle of depression, if it's like bigger than 6 or 7 degrees, it just feels so scary. But to actually be able to build it something like that here, you know, you could really see how scary that angle of depression of something that's bigger than 7 degrees like actually looks like, you know? Oh my gosh, dude, that is so cool.
And and it's huge right now. You see how it looks like I go swimming right now.
I know, right? Just, it makes you want to just jump in that oasis over there. That's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. A lot of people, so you have a lot of compliments coming out in the on the social media feeds here, but you know, is there any questions here for Burgess too? Feel free to throw them in. We can't promise to answer every single one of them, but if you could think of something to ask away, now would be an awesome time to do so. So So I guess Burgess, as we're waiting, if you don't mind me asking, what would you say to the teacher who like literally say, because I mean, you know, I've worked with teachers, and you've seen like, what do you say to the teacher who comes to you and says, yeah, AR is cool, but there's always like a skeptic in the crowd, and say like, well, augmented reality is kind of like the bells and whistles or something like that. So it's almost like not that you're trying to be salesperson, but like, how do you like work with a teacher and say, listen, man, it's just like with a teacher who's kind of resistant to something like this, what would you say to such a teacher who's kind of a critic? Because it's like, well, that's just kind of a luxury. You know what I mean? That's kind of like a Lamborghini for a car. I mean, like all you need is a shed, that kind of thing. Like how do you answer something like that with someone who has that kind of like, how's augmented reality like, because obviously we could walk into, we see that, but is there anything else we could like, you know, tell that particular skeptic or something like that?
So for me, what's a good way of saying that? So number one,
it's not an easy question either, because it's like
it's pretty loaded, right? But number one, the fact of the matter is, as educators, right, we have to be lifelong learners, right? And the reason why I say that is, just like you said, like I didn't start using the 3D software until 2018. That's when I started playing with it in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
That's just something to add to your toolkit, right? That's really that's one of the ways I look at it. Something that you're adding to your toolkit. Paper and pencil doesn't work for everybody. The chalkboard, the dry erase board, that doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
But if you can kind of capture their attention and interest, right? So for me, it has more to do with capturing their interest, right? Because if you can capture anyone's interest, they might work harder at it.
Well said.
They might want to improve, you know? And
right.
Incentive is something cool that they can manipulate, that they're actually trying to reach a goal with. And it just doesn't feel like this, I don't know, it doesn't feel like punishment. Like work doesn't feel like punishment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's kind of the best way I can kind of frame an answer around that. So yeah, we should all try to meet our students at whatever we can. So you have different types of learners. This is just another way to maybe speak to a few to get them interested.
Well said. That's awesome. We did have a question, asked you to repeat some. Mathematics Commons asks, can you please show again how you added that balloon, please?
How I added the balloon?
Yeah, the balloon to the point. Can you demonstrate that again for those that came a little bit later? I'll add your thing back to the stream there, so we can see. Yeah.
You know how to do it from the phone?
I can't. I don't think so. I think it's got to be done from the. I think you got to go back to 3D.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay, from the website.
Yep.
Okay. Am I still sharing my screen? Do we all see it?
Yep. Yeah, you're sharing your screen there.
All right. So let me go here. You said, so how do we add the point? Yeah,
just to get those emojis back, those emoji symbols back in the yeah.
I'm using a Mac right now, so I'm not sure how to pull emojis up on PCs, but the way that I do it with mine, I hit Control Command in the space bar, and it pops up the emoji keyboard. So is that answering the question, or are we talking about the slider? How do we make the slider?
No, just to basically put the airplane in the 3D, basically the caption. Basically the caption, the point with, yeah, I think that.
So see how I just put in a point A, right? And just think the example said something about it was two observers, right? So if I wanted this to represent a person, I can go here to the gear. Well, not the gear, excuse me. I have to click the point, and I go to the settings, the three dots.
Yep.
And I go to the settings. And what it does is it gives me a line right here that says caption. So I hit Control, Command, and Space Bar, and I can put
nice.
They look like John Travolta from Saturday Night.
Right.
So I put John Travolta in there, right?
Yep.
And notice once you kind of do that, and notice how it says show label, it says caption. That means from here on out, instead of it saying point A, it's going to have a point in this man. See?
Nice.
So
then if you hit enter, right, it'll put the guy right there.
And it'll put it right there.
Yeah, and I think what would happen if you put it at size 48 font? I'm curious. Would it make the guy look bigger? I'm just curious how much bigger to make the guy look.
That's a good question.
I have no idea. I've never tried it that big, but you want to experiment and see?
I don't either, so we can try that. Let's go to settings. Click the gear. You just follow the gear. Follow the gear.
Follow the gear. Yeah.
And you said, let's run this all the way up to
48 points, the biggest. It's like huge. Okay. It's like big print letters there, but let's see if that guy looks any bigger.
There it is.
Now, can we get rid of the numbers just to really see the scale there?
Oh, yeah. So, I'm a gear again. You don't have to click here. You can actually right click in your workspace, and I'm an unchecked show axis.
Yep. There he is.
Yeah.
Nice.
And see, now it's a big man there. See?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember when I first showed you when you saw the airplane. No, I think it was the kite. When I did the kite example, and you asked like, "How did you get the kite on there?"
Yeah, I'm like, "How did you do that?"
It just kind of hit me out the blue. I said, "Hold up, if I can put a picture in here, I can use a character, and an emoji is nothing but a character, just like a letter."
Right.
Yeah. I was like, "Okay, let me just use an emoji instead," and it worked. So I said, "Okay, now I can do." And I think that's what started sparking more ideas when I knew I can actually change the emojis now.
Right.
Then it made me kind of think, okay, I can do different types of examples, make them really go in line with the books.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah. Cool. Definitely answer the question. No, Mathematics Commons, absolutely. You're welcome. If you have any other questions, feel free to throw it in. Now is an awesome time to ask. Yeah, now Burgess, if you want to find out more, we'll actually, one thing I wanted to mention, I was getting a link for you guys here. Burgess is, you have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I have a YouTube channel.
You got that link right there. Let's put it out there for all to see so people can hit them to all the destinations there. But this is where you can find more of Burgess Jeffries' work, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to subscribe, like, whatever. There it is. Yeah, so, I mean, we have another 15 minutes, or we can end it now. If you have more questions, feel free to throw them in. It's totally up to, we'll let the audience decide here. But anything else you want to see Burgess demonstrate or do with this at all?
Well, I had something I wanted to show.
Go for it.
Let me share my phone again. And so this is just something that it just kind of hit me out the blue. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He was like, okay, what can we do with younger children? I was like, oh, well, we can design something like maybe a tree or something. So what I and I had different designs for a tree. Let's see. Let me see what and so as you can see right here, this is cool because all we're doing is talking about shapes, right? So like if you look at this tree, you have a right triangle, you have a rectangle, and then you have a line segment. Pretty simple, right? And then of course you have a ball at the top. So no matter the age, you know, they can draw a sketch like that, but as they get older and they start matriculating through mathematics, then we can start talking about things like symmetry. It's like, what's wrong with this tree? Anyone can tell you, okay, half of it is missing. Right. Okay, so how about you fill in the blanks, right? If you ask them to fill in the blanks on graph paper, just trying to get the hang of it, they can complete the tree using full symmetry without ever knowing how to count out X and Y coordinates or any of that. Like they can literally just do it just by sight, right? Right. So what we can do is just kind of take that same idea and use coordinates to start plotting out a tree. We go a little bit higher. That's where we can talk about, and that's where I'm gonna go ahead and I think it's time for me to demonstrate now, right? So I'm going to put this tree right here. Look at that. See that tree? Yep, half a tree. Half a tree. So let's think about this. How can I make this a whole tree? All I have to do is spin it. And that's, you got that angle slider right there. All I can do is spin it. And, you know, for some people, it may have never occurred to them that this shape that we know as a cone is really it extends from the triangle
Mm-hmm.
or the stoop, right? The tree trunk. A cylinder, like if you rotate a rectangle, you have a cylinder. Or if
Mm-hmm.
you take a line segment and you spin it one time, you have a circle. So it's like you can create all sorts of 3D objects by spinning them. And then what I'm gonna do here is now you can't even see through it anymore. So now you have a full tree.
We could jump inside it and go, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
and
there it is.
I love the fact that you could jump inside it while you're spinning it. I mean, you could go ahead. Why don't you move that slider slowly, go inside there and go from 360 down to 0, right?
I'm right here.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
There you go. The door opens. Beautiful. Nice. So we had a question here from a couple people here. Michael here asked, do you think can we make a pendulum, you think, in GeoGebra? We don't have time tonight, but what would you say to the question? Can we build pendulums in here?
Can we say that again?
Can we build like a pendulum, like from a grandfather clock?
Yes. It can be done.
Yep. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so and that's a good question because like you have a pendulum swinging, right?
Mm-hmm.
What type of functions oscillate? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What type of functions oscillate? You can use that to create a point that swings back and forth.
Right. And I'm thinking that modeling that angle, is it going to be having the kids figure out, is it going to be a full 360, or it's more like if the pendulum is like the pendulum's hanging here, I'm thinking like maybe 45, like 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 this way, that way. So it's almost like it's an exercise to figure out those slider ends or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Michael also asked, hey, can a user create a shape such as a paper plane and make that image fly? I mean, if you teach geometry, right? Look at all the actions that you have here. I mean, like, how could we make a paper airplane, Burgess?
A paper airplane in Geogebra? Yeah. That's a good one. What kind of shapes are we looking at? We have some right triangles shapes we can do. You can do something like a reflection.
Mm-hmm. So do half the plane like you did half. Yeah.
Different directions, and it'll create the wings and the body of it. Attach it maybe to a point and let it just follow that point. It's so many different ways that you can approach something because and this is no different from like what people talk about when they are talking about coding or writing programs, right? There's no one way to do it, right? There's different ways because everybody's perspective is different. Mm-hmm. Now, as you meet other people and you see how different people think, you might run across someone who did the same thing you did more efficiently, right? They might have done it in half of the lines or half of the end. It's the same thing with GeoGebra. Like, I can create a construction that might take me 5 lines, but you might know something like, oh, you can do that in 2, and kind of just. So it's really endless. Possibilities are.
Totally. And to add to that too, just to like make it fly, I'm just thinking like, again, I try to think like even middle school kids, middle school or upper elementary, we talk about translating by a vector. Like Burgess, you made a slider before, like K goes from -5 to 5, and you could, like you said, change the values there. But if we put the plane somewhere on the x-axis and attach it to a point there and call that point something like K00 maybe, and let K move, it'll make the plane move maybe along with it, and it's like, and then with your trig classes and geometry up at an angle like you just did in that other one. So it's almost like with this, it's like the world becomes your playground to model mathematically. It's just it's so much fun. And there was one question before too, going up the chain here. Someone had asked for AR and Android. I'm sorry, right here, I apologize. I cannot pronounce your name, but what I can say is that if you have an Android or an iPhone, you can have this app with augmented reality. And Burgess, if you don't mind, I'd just like to share that link with people here. So let me actually take this out of it here, and I'm going to share one more time. It actually is right here. If you have an iPhone and Android and came a little bit late to the broadcast there, let me just take this for a second, and I'll put it here. Hold your phone up to your computer screen for 1 second and go right here. Okay, let me just hit present. Where is it? Yeah, I'll just hit present right here. If you have an iOS, if you have an iPhone or an Android, go ahead and open up your camera and take a picture of this app right here. This will take you right to App Store. It'll take you to Geogebra 3D Calculator with augmented reality. And if you have an Android device, like a Samsung Galaxy or whatever, again, we at Geogebra are device agnostic. We're not going to promote one over the other. But with Android, you go to Google Play. This barcode here this QR code takes you to the link to Geogebra 3D Calculator on Google Play. You can get it right there. That's the calculator. But with Android devices, you need to take this. You need to take a picture of this too. That is a link to an app called Google Play Services for AR. This app on an Android will basically plugs into the calculator here, and that's what empowers the augmented reality. Okay, so I'll leave that up for another few seconds there, but take a picture of that. Those will take you to the links, so you don't got to go fishing for them on App Store and Google Play. So. Yeah, this was for a presentation I did like a month ago, so I remember I had these. So I figured I'd just share quickly because that person had asked already. So there they are. All right, so let me go back here. I'll stop sharing. And anything else? Oh, we have another question here.
Okay.
Jay Davis says, "Hi there. I was wondering what you could say of the impact of Geogebra in your students. How do you usually include a Geogebra activity in your class?"
Okay, so the way I'm doing mine so far, we're just taking some examples that we see in the textbooks and we're just designing them. Because right now I'm doing trig ratio size 10. So that's pretty much right triangle mathematics, like just dealing with right triangles and maybe some scalenes and stuff. But the reason why I like to use it is because like we're just in a time where just everything is changing right now, right? Everything is. I'm doing everything remotely. It's kind of hard to just go the traditional route. It's just hard to go the traditional route. Not saying it's impossible, but right now I just looked at it as an opportunity to just go more technology now. We have to use it so much now anyway. I might as well just kind of go all the way now, right? So, but what I have noticed is some of them that weren't interested at first, they're actually giving more effort now.
That's cool.
That's. I mean, we all want our students to make A's. We all want them to score high. Like we all know that. Like that goes without saying. But for any of it to happen, you have to be interested. You just have to be. So I'm just trying to make sure their attention is on the subject, and then I just go from there. I just go from there. Wherever they are, I just go from there, and we just build.
Awesome. Cool. Well said. So yeah, and Burgess's YouTube channel, we put the link up there. He's also on Twitter. If you want to see more of these AR demonstrations, it's like you've been doing like one a day now. It's just fun to see. It's just like I take like 3-4 minutes to look at Twitter every day, and it's just like going there. It's been pretty cool. But that's his Twitter profile right there. If you go there, you'll find a lot of AR fun ideas, and it's just fun to watch. But yeah. So we're almost at the top of the hour there, sir, and a job very well done. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. You can find out more. For those of you that asked, this screencast will always be there. It's on Geogebra. We're live streaming the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now live. It'll always be there. So for those of you that had to leave, come back, it'll be there if you just go there to the channels, whatever. But this is the last webinar for 2020. We have a lot more Geogebra Live, different format presentations coming up in 2021. We wish you, your families, your colleagues a very safe, happy, and healthy holiday season. And we look forward to seeing more of you and sharing more Geogebra love in the new year. So until then, see ya.